want, give me what I need, give me what I want this free.
With only 2 races remaining in the season, we are ready to go live here in Lakeland, Florida for the penultimate race of the Superspeedway Series calendar here in the Sunshine State. Hi, hello, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Under Armour Speedway for round number 11 of 12 races here for the Fuel Superspeedway Series season number 2 here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Glad to have everybody aboard for tonight's race on the NESRN. My name is Trey, right here for Fuel Racing and the North American Sim Racing Network. Caleb Rose does have the night off tonight, so we'll be just rocking solo here, old school style. Here for tonight's broadcast on the North American Sim Racing Network. Glad to have everybody aboard. Here for tonight, we're actually going to go ahead and turn our volume down so we're not completely blasting out the eardrums of all the poor innocent souls. So we're here at the Under Armour Speedway, a couple of moments away from getting tonight's race kicked off. We look at Luis Garces with about 1:30 to go here in the qualifying session. And it looks like we had a couple drivers come in here late, so the ticker is going to be a little bit screwed up to begin with, trying to see who the new driver is. I believe it's going to be Garces in that 73 machine, and I believe it is. So we're going to go ahead and get that fixed here over the course of the next couple of moments. But nonetheless, 2 races to go in the season. We'll go over all the points during happy hour here in a couple of moments. But we're going to go ahead and get our ticker fixed to make it a ramrod shape. You're ready here. So sit back, relax, and we'll be back here in just a couple of moments here for qualifying with a fixed ticker for the penultimate race of the season for the Fuel Racing Series, Superspeedway Series, round number 11 here at Under Armour. We'll be back in just a jiffy. I believe we should have everything just about fixed here. As we get ready to go qualifying, as we're in the middle of qualifying here for round number 11 here at this 3-mile, I believe it is only a 2-mile Superspeedway here in Lakeland, Florida. Glad to have everybody aboard here for tonight's broadcast on the North American Sim Racing Network. And oh boy, do we have a fun one for you tonight. So we get ready to do qualifying here over the next couple of moments. So we're in the middle of qualifying right now, I should say. We're going to go ahead and pan our camera back over to here as you take a look down this long back straightaway. All the way here is basically a mini version of the Coca-Cola Superspeedways. You got very similar grandstands to the Coca-Cola Superspeedway. But as we go ahead and get an in-depth look here in qualifying, right now Vincenzo Focusato, top of the board, Apollo Hyde in second. No surprise to see those two top of the board of the about 20 cars we have got on the grid right now in the server. But taking a look here at the race analysis for tonight, we're going to be doing 63 laps on the docket. About 125 miles worth here for tonight's race. And again, this is a 2-mile super speedway with the straights or the turns at 36 degrees. It's the equivalent to, as I believe, I really want to say, oh yeah, it's Bristol and Coca-Cola. No, it's literally a mini Coca-Cola, because Coca-Cola has 36 degrees of banking and pretty much everything of the fact as well. But that big thing we're going to be watching for these drivers is those fuel numbers, about 35 to 37 laps of the 63 on the docket. That's about right at around the halfway point, so could potentially see this devolve into a little bit of a strategy race after the insanity that we saw last week. And of course, again, you look at the track itself, it is basically a mini Coca-Cola Super Speedway. It's that classic oval shape design that we see here. A little bit similar to Martinsville, or a little bit more similar of a shape to Homestead, Miami, I would say. But again, you look at that banking as you see with Connor Edwards zooming out of the corner here. Same thing with Keon Daly, who went around last week at the Fuel Hyperspeedway. You're going to see this banking coming off for the corner. Just how high it is, well, not really able to see that. Now you can really see the banking there for Keon Daly. So he'll come off of the corner and rocket around. And he'll just be doing Keon Daly things. There's that pesky 73 car of Luis Garces. And it's going to be Luis Garces in that 73. A beautiful looking car. Kind of throwing it back a little bit to a Dale Jr. Talladega car, I would say, in terms of just the vibe I'm getting from watching that automobile. There's Trek Togger, one of the 3 Champ 3 that'll be in the grid here tonight. Same thing with Taylor Stolworthy in the 90, and of course Vincenzo Focusato in the 37. But taking a look here at qualifying, Dunlaprod was the only driver to not put a lap down, so 16 cars on the grid. Vincenzo Focusato, Apollo Hyde will be the front row with Crystal Bennett, Tyler Stallhood in row 2. Ike Durbin, Connor Edwards, Kenny Campos, Keon Daly, Taylor Stolworthy, and Emi Esquizato round out the top 10. Trek Togger rounding out the 3 championship-eligible drivers, as Luis Garces, fastest in happy hour right now. He qualified 13th, right behind the 2 of Gustavo Carrillo. Jason Stereo in the 96 will qualify 14th, and Dunlaprod will round out the 15 drivers that'll be starting on the grid here this evening. Again, another look at the chase standings after race number 10 of the season. Vincenzo Focusato with that win last week, getting his 3rd win of the year. So we're going to turn things a little bit more down on our part. He's got a 2-point lead over Trek Talker, who finished 3rd in that race, excuse me. With Dunlaprod finishing 2nd. And Taylor Stolworthy, who finished 4th in that race with a dead heat with Togger at the end, is going to be 15 points behind Vincenzo Focusato. So right now, Focusato in the driver's seat But again, a lot can happen during 63 laps here as we've got 2 minutes to go in happy hour before we'll turn them on and grid them up. So we get a look at all the cars. There's Connor Edwards in the 0-2. Emi Schizzato after taking that hard lick into the outside wall. At the Fuel Hyperspeedway is back. Same thing with that 71 of Kenny Campos. Glad to have him back. Taylor Stolworthy in that Havoline car. Haven't seen Vincenzo Focusato or Apollo Hyde yet. There's those two. Right now qualified 1-2, and glad to have Apollo Hyde back on the track after missing last week's festivities at the Fuel Hyperspeedway. The only two notable drivers that aren't in the grid here this evening are, of course, Nicky Conti, who was having some technical issues beforehand. Hopefully they're able to square that away so they could potentially join us in the broadcast booth. And of course, there's a storyline that we forgot to mention last week. Bobby Simpson currently serving a 2-race suspension, as he will be back in the saddle for Paris next week. Going to go back to that controversial end of the CRI race, where some post-race suspensions were held out after just some unfortunate circumstances. We'll leave it at that, but nonetheless, that was then, this is now. There's Crystal Bennett in that 84 machine coming off a mechanical failure from last week. And of course, it's not a race without Ike Durman, one of the 3 admins that are on the grid here this evening. In that number 86 car, there's of course Dunlop Rod. Gustavo Carrillo, excuse me, that came out of nowhere. Gustavo Carrillo in the 2. And that's pretty much everybody that's on track here with about 20 seconds to go in happy hour. If you'll have to apologize for my little bit sickness on my end, coming off of a head cold over these last couple of days, ranging back to Sunday night. Yeah, doing 5 sporting broadcasts in the span of 4 days. Not recommended, but I had to do it. Got to make money somehow. It's including a fantastic race that Caleb and I did last week. And yeah, I've been recovering for that over the course of the last few days, as Keon Daly goes head on into the wall, and I think we're just about ready to start here. So Gustavo Carrillo will also pull down, trying to find where Vincenzo Focusato is in that number 37 car. I don't think he is on track anymore. But like we said, we got 15 cars on the grid here tonight. 63 laps going on the big board for the penultimate race of the Superspeedway Series slate here tonight. Well, glad to have everybody aboard, as I know Kenny Campos is ready to rock and roll here for what is sure to be a fantastic evening, and that will lead us into pre-race ceremony. So we'll send things down trackside for the most famous words in motorsports to fire the engines for race number 11 of the 12-race slate here for the Fuel Superspeedway Series here at the Under Armour Speedway.
Drivers, start your engines!
And we are ready to rock and roll. 15 cars on the grid this evening here at the Under Armour Speedway. It's gonna be Vincenzo Focusato getting the job going here. Looking for 2 wins in a row for both Best Water Technology and Michelin. He sits on the pole position with the 100 of Apollo Hyde to his outside. The field will start on the back straightaway. One final look at the race analysis. 15 cars on the grid. We'll do 63 laps here at Under Armour. Expect these guys to come down around lap 35. We'll see if they'll have to come down multiple times after that. So we get ready to rock and roll. Here for the penultimate race of the season, the green flag is out and away, sticks are high in the air, 2 races to go. Here in the Superspeedway series, we're off. Just about even down the front straightaway after lap number 1, and Connor Edwards blinking a little bit in and out there in that 0-2. You got Crystal Bennett, top car on that outside lane of that 84. Trying to get the mojo working and nearly got caught in the middle in that 84 machine. So you see, we had that 73 as Luis Garces that's blinking in and out like a light bulb that desperately needs to be changed. And now we got 3 wide as nearly getting shuffled back there was Kenny Campos. Nearly 4 wide there for a brief moment as well as Bennett trying to hold serve on the high lane. Got Bennett in that 84. Big push there off the back end of the 100. As Hyde just trying to get things going here. And typically as we had 1 car go around, that was Gustavo Carrillo. I thought I heard somebody go around, but we remain green. A single car spin for that Miller Lite number 2 is going to put him behind the 8 ball here early. And 1 car on the outside wall, 2 cars is a great save out of both Stallhood and Stallworthy. Will keep us under the green flag, and those 2 were pinballing around a little bit. And fortunately, both Motor Oil cars on the grid were able to make some fantastic saves here on lap number 3. But that is definitely going to hurt Stallworthy in the long run. They bounced off of the wall a couple of different times. They'll surrender a spot to Trek Togger. Crystal Bennett right now being shown as the race leader and trying to thunder his way back down to the inside of that 84 is the 37. Nearly had 1 other car go around, but right now, starting to see that lower lane develop a little bit here. Gonna see these guys train race pretty much all evening long as we work on lap number 5, already under 60 laps to go. Here in tonight's main event, and Bennett's gonna get hung out to dry like a wet towel on Sunday. Way up the racetrack goes that Gatorade 84, and they nearly got ran over by the tail end of the upstairs of that pack. And now, no surprise to see Millennium Autosport running 1-2. Rich Roy, another driver that is absent here tonight that we forgot to mention. I know that he'll be cheering on his Millennium Autosport teammates as they go 1-2 with Ike Durbin once again playing rear-end gunner. And here comes Trek Togger trying to get aggressive right behind that 86 car. Togger up to 3rd, and now we're going to see these guys start to get the Rick Allen aggressive goes around. Stallworthy behind that 60 car as well. I think Togger is immediately just trying to test that 86 machine. As Durbin, like we said, played rear gunner as he gets a little bit loose, is going to send Togger way up. Here comes Hyde with a boatload of momentum. Way up the racetrack goes the 100. Togger is able to hold on to it. Those 2 nearly bang fenders off of 4. They're able to keep it straight for the time being, and all this is happening behind that 37. Here comes Stallworthy, trying to get potentially a lap led as they go down on the embankment for a brief moment. Schizzato chases way up the racetrack, pushed that 37 car up to the high lane. Here comes Stallworthy for the race lead, and here comes Togger trying to make it 3 wide. Togger, he might get caught in the middle, and now Stallworthy going for the race lead. Focusato up to the point on the outside, still getting a little bit of rear end help from that 86. It looks like they might go to the boondocks, and that's going to be a couple of bonus points well needed for Taylor Stallworthy. Way up the racetrack goes Focusato. He's able to just barely catch it. And that could have been disaster for that BWT Mazda as he nearly checked way up, and here comes Hyde down to the inside trying to get underneath of Schizzato. We're only on lap number 8 of a 63-lap race, and already we're starting to see some big moves being made here in the early stages of tonight's race. Togger trying to protect the low side as Tyler Stallhood trying to go down low, and a little bit of a shove there from the 60 on the back end of the 100. Plenty of really fun racing here tonight. Focusato, he got launched all the way back to 10th, and I think he might be a little content with staying back there. Stolworthy and Schizato currently running 1-2, and another big run of momentum there from Apollo Hyde in that 100 car. Not quite able to get around. Schizato has another run. Schizato throws the block on the low side. We'll see if Tyler Stallhood will try to play teammate there with the 100 a little bit. He's going to track way up the racetrack, and here comes Togger once again. A little bit of drafting help from Connor Edwards. Edwards very loose at a 2, and he's able to catch it. There is grip all over this racetrack as Edwards glitching out there for a brief moment. He's able to keep it straight, and now up the racetrack once again goes Hyde. Togger getting very aggressive so far. Emi Schizato doing an excellent job of playing blocker right now for that number 90 machine as Keon Daly trying to get up there to help his teammate. Whoa, Stallhood, very tight. He's into the outside wall. Somehow he's able to save it. That's another great save off of a dangerous situation. For the admin of this Fuel Racing League is Kenny Campos, a little bit loose out of the corner too. I believe now everybody, as Keon Daly tracks up the track once again, Luis Garces trying to take advantage of that. And I think just about everybody is kind of content right now with trying to run in a single file line. I think that's what everybody's trying to do here for the time being. But currently, Stolworthy 5 laps led. It looks like the field is going to catch up to Gustavo Carrillo. 14 cars all in a pack with one another, and here comes Hyde. Remember, there's no double yellow line rule here in the Fuel Superspeedway series, as Togger goes way up the racetrack trying to catch that race car like a cat trying to catch a mouse. He's all over the place, and he's going to surrender a spot to Focusato. Hyde now goes on the outside lane. Daly getting a little bit squirrely there in the 90, and now Focusato nearly lost it. Oh, that was some funky netcode there for that 37 car. Fortunately, he was able to save it. Oh, how about this for Connor Edwards? That 02 machine up to second, make that third. He might get caught in the middle here. He might definitely get caught in the middle. Keon Daly now trying to play draft help with that 100. Now that outside lane starting to get a little bit of mojo there. Here on lap number 14, already approaching the quarter of the way mark through this race. It's been a great one so far here, in case you're just tuning in. Taylor Stolworthy, the dominant car, and like we said, Keon Daly, the Dodge Performance Factory program, trying to get back up there and help that number 90 machine. Emi Schizato has been playing the fridge here a little bit, trying to protect the snacks. Right now, Taylor Stolworthy looking like a snack out there, leading 7 laps this last time by. Daly, you can see the back end of that 94 stepping out a little bit. Now that outside lane starting to get a little bit of mojo working. Now we might see 3 different lanes start to get here as Daly, he got very squirrely right in front of the 02. Fortunately, he was able to catch it, but that was right in front of Apollo Hyde. Now Crystal Bennett in that 84 car is trying to catch that Gatorade Dodge as well. Got a lot of Dodges at the front end of the pack right now. And now they're catching up to that 2 machine. Schizato way up the racetrack goes that Taurus. 3 wide for third. Daly right now on the outside, and Hyde in the middle of that 3 wide. Here comes Luis Garces in that 73, making a 3 wide for fourth. Garza's trying to play up here. We might have 4 wide. Here comes Stolhood. They're able to get it back down to at least 3 wide, but that could have been the first grade A dangerous moment of the evening, and all this is happening behind that 90 machine. But Connor Edwards, a very fast and loose blocker, having a little bit of netcode issues in the 0-2, but right now in that penultimate position is Carrillo. Will be put a lap down. He's trying to go to the outside to get out of everybody's way. Oh, we might get 4 wide once again. Is Schizzato making it 4 wide? We'll get it back down to 3 wide, and now double file. Here's Daly with a lot of momentum as he shoots the gap between the 2 and the 71. Stolworthy in the 90 continuing to show the way, but here comes Togger with a big push right behind Connor Edwards. The 90 in the 0-2 about door to door going into turn 1. Now Togger, who does he help with? He's going to go down low to help the 90 a little bit. Oh, Edwards now caught on the high side. Garces right behind that 60. We got a lot of dodgy characters right at the front. This could be a recipe for disaster, but Stolworthy has been playing the Pied Piper of the Under Armour Speedway for the better half of the last 10 laps or so. Most laps led by a country mile so far for that Valvoline number 90, make it 12 this last time by. Now Togger with a little bit of a run on the outside lane of that 90. Who does Garces go with? And he's just going to stay planted on the inside of that Ace of 73. A little bit janky there as Connor Edwards. He'll go to the boondocks. Stolhood looking for a little bit of a lane under the 73. He's not able to grapple that ledge. Here comes Garces to the outside, trying to throw the block as Togger. Garces now goes back down to the inside, cuts a rug back down low. Togger trying to play it a little bit hard on the outside lane. Now he goes back down to the inside. There's been some fantastic racing over the last 20 laps or so for all of these drivers at the front end of the field. And still, Taylor Stolworthy has been able to remain pretty strong so far, but now he's got a little bit of a weak point on the inside lane. Togger's got the drafting help behind him. Now Stolhood will get back down to the low side. Really fantastic racing here at the Under Armour Superspeedway. 36 degrees of banking in the corners, 10 degrees on the straights, and 2 miles of unadulterated Superspeedway fun here for this penultimate race of the season for the Fuel Superspeedway Series. Togger was able to get a lap led a couple of laps ago, so that'll give him a bonus point in that 60 machine. Was able to end that run of terror for Stolworthy. But Stolworthy looking for that first win of the season. Right now, the highest of the Championship 3, and the Championship 3 within the first, we'll call it, about the first 7 spots. Focusado back to 7th that last time by. And these guys have been keeping about as clean can be. Here for tonight's race so far, Stolworthy, Stolhood, Garces, your podium right now with Togger, and Campos, your top 5. And again, we are way past the midway point in this fuel run. Again, about 35 laps, so about, we'll call it 10 laps until these guys are going to have to come down the pit lane. And then after that, everything is just going to break loose here. But no yellows in this race just yet. Only one incident, that was Gustavo Carrillo, It was kept in, and now Emi Schizzato hard in the outside wall, and that'll bring out the caution. I knew I was gonna jinx it. Schizzato, Jason Stereo, and Kenny Campos go around, and oh no, Connor Edwards also around down the front straightaway. Everybody scatters around that 0-2 machine like ants at a picnic, and we're under the caution flag here for the opening time this evening. And, well, they did about 24 laps, unadulterated caution flag laps, and, well, this race does go caution free. It is absolutely going to make things, the strategy, a spicy meatball. It's Taylor Stallworthy, who has led 17 laps on the evening so far, will lead the field down to the pit area. Trek Togger is going to stay out to get a lap led. But Stallworthy in that 90 machine. We'll go down the pit area. I believe, oh, he missed his pit stall. That's going to be a mistake. I believe just getting multiple cans of gasoline should be the call of the day there for that 90 car. It is just 2 cans of gasoline for car number 90. But Tyler Stallhood is just going to beat out that Havoline Dodge off the pit lane. And Trek Togger will stay out to get a lap led here. We'll go ahead and take a look and see what happened. We're going to go ahead and take a look and see what happened to Gustavo Carrillo that kicked off everything immediately. So this was on lap number 2 of the event. And this is what happened to Carrillo as he just went down the racetrack and just simply lost it and hard into the inside wall for that Miller Lite 2. I don't think there was any contact with Jason Stereo, but yeah, nothing you could really do there. Just an unfortunate situation there for car number 2. And then you go back to the most recent incident involving Emi Schizzato. And yeah, that was just nothing you could really do. We'll watch this event, or both these incidences in their entirety. We'll follow along with Schizzato. Yeah, Kenny Campos just went up high, was not clear for the block, and that's 2 weeks in a row that Emi Schizzato has had a very, very hard lick into the wall. And coming back to the stripe, yeah, Keon Daly and Connor Edwards, I think Ike Durbin just about lost it off for the corner. And those two losing in subsequent fashion, so that's definitely not something you want. As we get the choose cone to get the 1 to go signal. Tyler Stallhood and Taylor Stallworthy right now 1-2. And you know what? If we have a moment, I believe we probably got about maybe 30 seconds or so to try and change that number 90 car so it's black on the screen. Nope, I kind of don't want y'all to see that. Some of the magic we have here for the Fuel Racing League as we try to do a quick change for that number 90 machine on our end at least. But right now, Tyler Stallhood shown as the race leader. Working our first yellow flag of the night. Stallhood the race leader, and a Stallworthy will be on the outside. And now we've got that number 90 fixed so it accurately shows the black background that Stallworthy is running. Of course, unfortunately, we can't change it on our ticker. But hey, doing the best we can in a short time frame. But it's Stallhood, Stallworthy, Hyde, Daly, and Campos, your top 5 going back through the gears. Green flag back out in the air. 36 laps to go here at the Under Armour Speedway. All 15 cars still on track. And again, about 36 laps to go, and these guys, again, taking a look at the fuel numbers here, about 35 and 37 laps. Well, I do believe that we're probably going to get another yellow flag because it's just not simple for these guys to potentially go 35 laps caution-free, especially with everything on the line. You know, and again, with how close these fuel numbers are, as Stallworthy very loose off of 4, and he's trying to get that race lead back from Tyler Stallhood. Not able to quite get it there, and again, Trek Togger, he came down the pit lane after these guys to get another lap led. Of course, Stallworthy has the most laps led bonus right now. And currently, Schizzato ducking way down to the low side. Is there an issue on that 97 car? I think there might be. I don't know if it's a flat tire or an engine going sour on that Luberax 97, but that is such a tough break for Remy Schizzato. We'll see specifically what the issue is there for Schizzato, but again, she took a couple of hard licks into that outside wall. And fortunately, or unfortunately rather, that'll likely be the end of the night for her. We'll see, it might just be a flat tire. There's Gustavo Carrillo back in the fray after going down a lap. He's back on the lead lap after getting the lucky dog. Jason Stereo looks like he'll get hung after that McDonald's number 96 Andy Houston car. Haven't talked a whole lot about Jason Stereo this season. He's been doing well so far in the Superspeedway series, currently in terms of live points. He's running in 12th in terms of the live point standings. As Tyler Stallworthy back in the race lead. And now, you got Vincenzo Focasato way back there in the 37, and Trek Togger is behind him. I think if you swap Trek Togger as Connor Edwards trying to make it 3 wide down on the apron, I don't think that's a good idea, Connor. And he'll buzz in and out there for a brief moment. Schizzato still with issues in the 97. I believe it's probably a mechanical issue on that 97 car. But right now, look at where Trek Togger's running. He's only one position back of the 37. Again, you take a look at the point standings for the chase coming into tonight. Focasato with only a 2-point lead over Togger and a 15-point lead over Stallworthy. Again, you got all the laps being led right now by Stallworthy, make it 20 on the night, and that was at the halfway point as well. So Stallworthy is going to get an additional couple of bonus points off of that. This is going to make Paris an absolute barn burner next week in terms of the championship. And again, Togger currently 2 spots back of the 37. He's able to finish a couple of spots ahead of Focasato. I just don't know. And again, you got the fastest lap bonus, which I think everybody is trying to drive for right now. Which right now, Tyler Stallhood currently leads that with a 36.514. And everybody that last lap was running about 37s. I don't think anybody took tires on that pit stop, so the fastest lap is likely going to get nixed here. So for Stallhood, as he's gonna oh my lord! Holy jumpin' Junipers, Tyler Stallhood with the save of the season! He was more than wrecking loose. He was sport ender loose somehow. He absolutely saved that. What a beautiful, beautiful job. And Tyler Stallhood that's gonna cost him some spots on the racetrack. But oh good lord, what a save out of that Valvoline number 7. I hope we get a caution flag soon though, so we can relive that incredible save on lap number 34. But Stallhood, who was running in the 3rd position at the time, he's one hell of an admin, and he is absolutely one hell of a wheelman. And he was able to make a fantastic save. It's going to cost him a lot of track position as he's going to fall all the way back to 12th after that, and everybody's going to get lined up single file. But man, oh man. What a save, and Keon Daly gets spun down the back straightaway. No caution just yet. It's a hard lick into the inside wall for that 94. I don't think he got loose. I think he might have got a little bit of an assist, but now Daly was not able to solve it, and now the caution flag will come out. So that was deemed a multi-car incident. Ask and you shall receive is the name of the game, and Keon Daly, I think he got a little bit of a pop from behind from Crystal Bennett. And that might be the end of his night, as Emi Schizotto has retired from the race. 14 cars remain. And well, like we said, we didn't think we were going to get 35 laps of uninterrupted pit stop, or uninterrupted green flag racing. So caution comes out with 26 laps to go, and oy vey. Oy frickin' vey is all I've got to say. Taylor Stallworthy once again leading the field back to the caution flag, will lead the field into the pit area. And if I'm a guy like Vincenzo Focusato, I'm going to stay out here to get an extra lap led, and I think that's exactly what he's doing. He's going to stay out, get a lap led, come back down with everybody else, and if I'm him, I'm taking 4 fresh tires. You know what? You might as well throw some fresh Michelins on that BWT Mazda and just try and gun for the fastest lap in the race. You know, Stallworthy, he's already got a lot of bonus points so far tonight. We'll see if he misses a pit stall once again. He will not, so that's a good learning moment there for that 90. Garces did miss his pit stall. And I think it's just going to be 1 can of gasoline for Stallworthy as he'll be out and away. Crystal Bennett is going to get out ahead of Apollo Hyde. And Hyde is going to take some tires. Same thing with Stallhood. Split strategy, always fun on these super speedways, as we had 4 cars stay out. They'll come back down once we come around the pit lane once again this next time by. But we have got a couple of different replays to go over. First and foremost, let's go ahead and take a look at that wicked save out of Tyler Stallhood on lap number 34. By far, the best save I think I have ever seen in NR2003 online. Yeah, he was, oh my lord. The fact that he was able to save that 7 machine traveling at about maybe 190, 195 miles an hour just shows how much of a wheelman that he is. I do want to get another look at this from a different angle. Yeah, this front-facing angle, this is just going to be insane. Yeah, you got loose behind Keon. I cannot believe he made the save. Goodness gracious. And then you go 2 laps in the future where Keon Daly, unfortunately, could not have the same fate befall him. As we'll go back and look here. Yeah, he was running in 3rd at the time. Crystal Bennett was right behind him. Oh, and that was a little bit of a shot there from Apollo Hyde. That's a netcode crash at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. And that's not what you want, especially for Keon Daly. He was running in that 3rd spot. And we're gonna get a look at the helicopter cam here and see, was that a little bit of netcode? Yeah, just a little bit of bumper crab with some netcode thrown in there. Tough break, a very tough break, all things considered, for Keon Daly, as he's back in the fray, albeit with a little bit of damage sustained to that rear end of that target number 94. But Vincenzo Focusato, he was actually able to get out ahead of these guys off the pit lane, so he's going to be the race leader. With Gustavo Carrillo, he'll be second. And how about the story this would be for Carrillo, who spun on lap number 2, was a lap down, got the lucky dog after the first caution, and would be able to get a solid run here in that Miller Lite number 2. And of course, Ike Durbin, you know that he's going to be playing rear gunner for that number 37 car as well. And Stolworthy right back here. The green flag flies once again. 23 laps remaining in tonight's race, and do we get 23 green flag laps is going to be the million-dollar question. We're just going to have to go ahead and try and find out. Trek Talker nearly making that question an immediate no as he tracked up the racetrack. Fortunately, was able to catch that Suburban Cowgirl Steakhouse number 60 machine. Stolworthy trying to get back into the fray, but again with Keon Daly, you know, got a little bit of damage. We do have moderate damage on, so the damage is not as bad as it could nearly be. We'll see if Daly is able to get up there trying to help that 90 machine, but Vincenzo Focusato, who again, after that last time by, he's only led 7 laps tonight. This has been a race that has been thoroughly dominated so far by Taylor Stolworthy. But again, once you get these two Millennium Autosport guys right next to, right 1-2 with one another, it is very, very hard to break these up, and Stolworthy goes around right in front of the rest of the field. He nearly got pile driven, and around goes the 73 and the 71. So the dominant driver of the evening, Taylor Stolworthy from 3rd, spins out. And cautions breed cautions, and especially in the Sunshine State, these cautions definitely are in heat, and that is a heartbreaker for Taylor Stolworthy. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of damage on that 90 machine, but man, we had just talked about it. 25 laps led on the night, was leading at halfway, and he is going to be relegated all the way to the boondocks. And he'll come down the pit lane to get another pit stop. Kenny Campos and Luis Garces, they both went around, and that is such an unfortunate situation there for that number 90 machine. And that's got, again, very, very big championship implications as we take a look and see what happened. Stolworthy, again, he didn't take any tires that last time by. And he was just going down the back straight. I think it was the exact same thing that happened to his teammate. Yeah, rear bumper grab. And fortunately, he did not get run over. And fortunately for him, Kenny Campos and Luis Garces both pretty much just ran over one another and created that a multi-car incident. But man, again, we'll look from the helicopter cam to see if that was bumper grab. Actually, the spectator cam has got a perfect angle of it. Yeah, it was the exact same thing that happened to Keon Daly. And yeah, Luis Garces getting into it with Kenny Campos, and that is, that's not what you want. That is certainly not what you want. We'll get one more look at this before we'll get back here with these guys. I'm going to look at this from the turn 3 cam. Yeah, unfortunately, fortunately for the entire field, Crystal Bennett did not run into Taylor Stolworthy, and that's just bumper grab. That's just the unholy mix of netcode and bumper grab, unfortunately. And oh boy, Well, the end of this race is... It's certainly going to be a shootout, that's for certain. We're going to get restarted with 18 to go. And this has certainly been a doozy. Here with about 18 laps to go. Again, we appreciate everybody tuning in to tonight's broadcast. And again, would like to remind everybody that the link for the Fuel Racing League, doesn't matter what experience you've got, whether you're brand new to NR2003 or you're a seasoned veteran of the ranks of Zach Rogers and company, you can join the Fuel Racing League. The link for the Discord is down in the description box below. Always looking for new people, always looking for new talent to come in here, try their hand at NR2003 offline racing. Again, link for that is link for the Discord server down in the description box below. 18 laps remain in the penultimate race of the season. And this is gonna be a doozy. Focusado, Durbin, 1-2, Keon Daly, Crystal Bennett, and Connor Edwards. Round out the top 5, Connor Edwards now up to second on the outside lane. Green flag is back out of the air, and here we go. Can we stay green for 18 more laps, folks? That is going to be the ultimate $1 million question, as we always say. Focusado thundering out like a charge. And again, he's led 10 laps so far this evening. Make that 11 laps. He needs to lead only a handful more. Only 14 more laps need to be led here to get the most laps led bonus for Focusado. To take that away from Stolworthy and around Connor Edwards, he saves it. He's loose once again. Way up the racetrack goes the 7 and around goes the 0-2. And we are once again under the yellow flag. And that was almost the greatest save of the night from Connor Edwards, but the man who had the previous best save of the night, Tyler Stallhood, unfortunately making contact with Edwards, and that is the last thing that Taylor Stallworthy wants to see, is Vincenzo Focusado leading more laps under the yellow flag. And cautions do indeed breed cautions, and these cautions are in the Playboy Mansion tonight here, boys and girls. That is for darn sure. Nobody besides Connor Edwards and Tyler Stallhood is going to come down the pit lane. That was nearly the greatest save of the night I have seen out of Connor Edwards. And again, like we were just talking about a little bit ago, the inexperience for some of these drivers. Connor Edwards, he's another guy that's a little bit of a fresh face here on the NR2003 online scene. And he was very, very, very loose going into turn number 3. I think there was another instance of bumper grab. No, as Carrillo came up the racetrack. Oh, and it was just the 7 of Stallhood reverberating off of Stallworthy. Because that would have been the greatest save of the night here for that 0-2. Hands down, bar none. And we'll get another couple looks at it here. Man, that was so close to just being a fantastic save. That was even more wrecking loose than Tyler Stallwood was. You know, again, Lakewood Drift, Under Armour Drift, and yeah, just unfortunate. No other way to really describe it. Just unfortunate for Connor Edwards and Tyler Stallhood. Again, Stallhood, he's been being around a couple of different times tonight. But now, you're going to get 14 laps to go more than likely before this race ends. And They go back, that's more damage on a Taylor Stallworthy, and he currently sits in 9th. Vincenzo Focusato will be 15 laps led. Once we get back to the green flag, Carrillo is going to come down the pit lane to probably top off on fuel. And again, Carrillo was the only driver that only had one pit stop on the evening, and he'll come out after making his second pit stop of the night. We'll get the 1-to-go signal to get back racing here this evening. Well, that could not have come at a worst possible time, folks. Issues. Hold up. Wait. Oh, that was just a lag spike. Nope. Oh, good lord. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and figure out this technical difficulties, and we'll be back here. Now we've got everything squared away, so we're back here at the Under Armour Speedway here on lap number 51 of 63. Trey Wright on the call here. We're under the green flag here. I believe our ticker might be a tad bit broken, but right now Vincenzo Focusato playing blocker on that 84 car. Apologize for some of the technical difficulties on our part. We're going to try and see if our ticker is broken. It is in fact, potentially, broken here on lap number 52 of 63. Oh, we got one car breaking sideways. Is Ike Durbin around in the 96, the 86, I should say. And the caution flag is out for the 5th time this evening. Jason Stereo getting tagged up with the 86 of Ike Durbin, and the yellow flag flies for the 5th time and the 3rd time over the course of these last couple of moments. That is unfortunate for Ike Durbin, who was playing gunner all night long for that 37 car. But here, with about 11, make it 10 laps to go, we're getting very, very close to that point of no return here on lap number 54. Try to get our ticker reworked. It's lap number 54 of 63, so we do in fact know that. And nobody is going to come down the pit lane. Are we going to get a quick yellow here is going to be the big question. I don't believe we are. So everybody is going to remain single file for the time being. We're under caution here for the 5th time tonight. Focusato now leading his 20th lap of the night. No, it's just still 19, but still. All these caution flags eating up laps led. It's going to be a lot here. He's playing on the side of Vincenzo Focusato. We'll go ahead and take a look at the replay to see what exactly happened. Put us under our 5th caution flag of the night. Started with Ike Durbin, yeah. Oh, and Apollo High got sandwiched hard into the outside wall. The start of that incident was a little bit obscured from the building, but yeah, that is not what you want for Apollo Hyde, and she has retired from the race. We got to get another look at this and see what happened. That is very unfortunate. Like we said, we'll get another look at what happened. Yeah, a little bit of a bump off the front end of Togger, and now, wow, nearly into the parking lot went Hyde. Jason Stereo was also caught up in that accident as well, and, well, a very violent accident, to say the least, as Togger is back down into the pit area. That Suburban Cowgirl Steakhouse number 60 driver will top off on a little bit of fuel, and we'll be off and running here. Let's see. That's the old ticker here, but that does signify that we've got 63 laps on the board. As Apollo Hyde will join Emmy Schizzato in the garage area for being knocked out of tonight's contest. 13 cars still in the race. And we'll get this race restarted past or approaching the point of no return again. Point of no return is lap number 59, so we'll probably only have one time for maybe one more caution flag before said point of no return. But it's been a good one so far here at the Under Armour Superspeedway here on a Wednesday night in late January. Vincenzo Focusato looking for his 4th win of the season, 2nd in a row. As we get ready to rock and roll here for the final about 8-lap sprint, I would say, maybe about 7-lap sprint, to decide the penultimate race of the season. Focusato, Bennett, Stallhood, LaPrade, Edwards, your top 5. And here we go. Grab the 6 shooters, ladies and gentlemen, as we get the green flag back out of the air here on lap number 57, and a great shove off the bottom lane from Tyler Stallhood. But look at the shot there from the 84. And Crystal Bennett will rock it out to the race lead, and that's exactly what Taylor Stallworthy wants to see. And how about Stallworthy back there in that 5th spot? Gustavo Carrillo right now running in 6th. That would be a great recovery for him, but here comes Focusato. And Crystal Bennett, haven't seen a whole lot of this 84 out front, but we do know that Bennett is a master on the super speedways. You go back to Talladega for the GNS race a couple of months ago, but here comes Focusato throwing the block is Bennett. Here comes Stallhood and Stallworthy. Those two trying to work together, and Stallhood looking for a little bit of a ledge around that 37 car. Here comes that 37 Bestwater Technology Mazda. Again, it was a dogfight with Dunn LaPrade last week at the Hyper Speedway. This time by, it'll be 5, count them, 5 laps to go. You wreck now, that doesn't mean anything. Here comes Focusato, he sells Bennett a dummy. Can Bennett get down the low side in time? No, she can't. Here comes Focusato, not able to get a ledge down in front, and he's going to lose a lot of momentum in that 37. I thought Bennett was going to be dead to rights, but here comes Focusato once again, dragging the brake a little bit, trying to get that big run. And Dunlop, where did that 74 car come from? We have not talked about him all night long. All of a sudden, that Lazarus 74 up to 6th with 4 laps to go this next time by. Focusato once again selling the 84 and dummy. No, and he nearly got ledged off once again. We got 3 wide. Here comes Stallworthy here for second. Oh, and that might cost Tyler Stallhood the win. He's got very, very loose. Was able to just hold on to it. And Keon Daly is in the fray as well. Here's Stallworthy right now running in second. Is he content to lag behind that 84? Oh, but Focusato not done yet. He is not done yet in the slightest. 3 laps to go. Here comes Stallhood. Focusato in a Stallworthy and Stallhood sandwich right now. Crystal Bennett just trying to play blocker here over these last 8 or so laps in the event. 2.5 laps remain here at the Under Armour Superspeedway. Bennett, Stallworthy, Focusato, Stallhood, and Daly, your top 5. Daly, he's gonna go around right in front of Ike Durbin. Jason Stereo also to the outside wall. And that storyline of Keon Daly will go bye-bye. No caution, we remain green, sticks high in the air, 2 to go. I think Stallworthy is just trying to play blocker behind that 37. Again, Durbin was caught up in that incident, so now, oh, Stallhood, another great save in the 7, but Focusato has got no drafting help, especially with Dunlop behind him. And how about Trek Togger? He's gonna make this a multi-champ race going into Paris in 1 week. Here we go, off of turn number 4, white flag in the air, one more time around the Under Armour Speedway. Crystal Bennett leads, and now the outside lane starting to get a little bit of momentum. Here comes Focusato with Dunlop Pride, a little bit of drafting help. They're trying to get that 37 around the 90. Again, championship implications, and Trek Togger, he's gonna be gunning for 3rd. Right behind the 90 he goes, and Crystal Bennett blocks up high. Can't block the 90. Here comes Stallworthy with a huge push from Trek Togger. Less than a half a lap to go. Taylor Stallworthy with a push from his championship rival. Stallhood in 3rd. They're not going to catch him on the outside lane. Togger with one final look on the outside. Here they come at the stripe, and Taylor Stallworthy is going to make this a shootout in Paris in 1 week. He gets the win here at Under Armour. Vincenzo Focusato falls down to 5th as Taylor Stallworthy and Trek Togger finish 1-2. And Stallworthy, who led the most laps on the night, had 25 laps led up until the halfway point, and the spin and win for Taylor Stallworthy in that Havoline number 90. He is going to victory lane here this evening in the Sunshine State. How about that? Wow. And this is going to be a dogfight in all senses of the word going into the Paris circuit in a 1 week, but that's the least of Taylor Stallworthy's concerns. He is your race winner. First win of the season for car number 90. And a last lap pass gets the job done. Yeah, and that's, you feel for Crystal Bennett. Led the last 8 laps of that stint, blocked the high lane, but couldn't block the run on the bottom. And that is a tough break, all things considered here. But irregardlessly, that is going to do it for our race. But coming up here in a couple of short moments, we're going to go ahead and get our post-race interview rocking here. Before we do that, we'll go ahead and take a look at the rundown in just a moment. But goodness gracious, Taylor Stallworthy with a drive of their life. You'll hear from them here in a couple of moments. But getting the top three, we'll hear from the podium, and we'll hear from Vincenzo Focusato as well, who finished in 5th. But Taylor Stallworthy getting the job done. They get the win. Trek Togger got 2nd. Tyler Stallhood will end up getting a podium finish in that 7 machine. Crystal Bennett ended up finishing 4th. Rounding out the top 5 was Vincenzo Focusato, Don LaPrade, Connor Edwards, Ike Durbin, Gustavo Carrillo, and Luis Garces with the top 10. Jason Stereo, Keon Daly, Apollo Hyde, and Emmy Schizzato rounded out the cars. 13 cars finished the race of the 15 that started it. And we'll be back here in just a couple of moments as we get the post-race interviews set up here after a wild penultimate race of the season that is absolutely gonna get things pretty wild here in terms of the championship. But a great race tonight. Taylor Stallworthy getting the job done. We'll get your post-race interviews here in just a couple of moments here on the North American Sim Racing Network.
want. Give me what I need. Give me what I
And we
want.
are
I
back
want this free.
here at the Under Armour Speedway for the post-race interviews after a fantastic penultimate race of the season. And oh boy, once we get into the points here in just a couple of moments, you will absolutely see why everything is certainly going to be wild going into next week's race at Paris. But we'll get things underway for the post-race interviews here in just a couple of moments once I remember how to try and get there. And now we should be good to go. So we'll get a look with, get an interview with our 5th place driver here in just a brief moment.
Insufficient permissions.
And I guess we have,
Insufficient permissions.
I guess I'm not able to move Vincenzo into an actual server just yet, so pause one moment.
Channel
Back up
switched.
after claiming, because he also was like super far behind in like pit.
I'm not a server admin here.
You want me to just
Which
hop
we can
in
just
there?
manually move.
Or if you're cool with it, we can just all be silent until it's our turn to speak. Okay. As long as you're cool doing the interviews with everybody in the room. Okay.
So we've got everything all sorted out here, as Vincenzo Focasato is going to be the first one up here in our interview process after a 5th place run after leading 20 laps on 20 laps on the night. A 5th place run, falling just a little bit short in both the race and the championship battle. Vincenzo, tough breakout there, but certainly a lot of fun for us up here in the broadcast booth.
I hope it was, because it was, wow, it was dicey out there. That was a heart rate spiker for probably all of us, and I'll be straightforward right away. I think I got away with some really poor driving on my part. I think I'm really lucky that that didn't lead to any accidents. So I'm really glad it didn't, and I really appreciate the crowd here for being so respectful and so heads up, and somehow being prepared enough to not wreck like I should have made them.
Yeah, there were a couple of close calls, especially when you and Crystal Bennett were diving one another. You were trying to sell Bennett a little bit of a dummy going into one. Some great racing on our part, definitely some stuff that'll end up on a highlight reel, but going into the tail end of this race, you got the race lead back from Taylor Stallworthy, who was dominant, and then Stallworthy unfortunately spun around on that 3rd caution, I think, and you were back up at the front. What was your strategy trying to be going up until that final caution where Crystal Bennett was able to get out in front of you? What was your strategy trying to stay to the front, especially without having that rear-end gunner with Ike Durbin, who was excellent blocker tonight?
Well, I didn't really have much in the way of one other than the knowledge that my car worked best down on the bottom, so holding it tight and hoping no one could overpower me up high was the only chance I think I had. So that's all I tried to do, and yeah, didn't end up abandoning that till the last lap, but I wasn't in the lead at that point anymore. But yeah, made a go at it and failed pretty miserably. Wow, I made about every move I could have made from the last 7 laps. I did it all wrong. So I didn't deserve that one tonight, and that's okay, because only wanted it if I deserved it. So had a lot of fun out there, had a lot of close racing.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun up here as well, but going ahead into next week, we'll take a look more at the specific points breakdown with Tyler Stallwood here in a couple of moments, but you're essentially in must-win situation against 2 of the top guys in this Champ 3, so going into next week, of course you'll have Ike Durbin with you to try and rally the ranks. We'll hopefully see Rich Roy back in there, but going into the season finale, what are you just looking for a little bit out of yourself and everybody at your shop?
Well, as it is the case with all the super speedway races, there's a lot that's out of your control. I mean, your race obviously is somewhat in your control, but when it comes to points rivals, their race is in their hands, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you just gotta try and do the same thing we do every week. Try and keep it clean, make it to the white flag, and see where we end up when the checkered flag falls.
Yeah, and you were able to have some success so far this season. 3 wins on the year, but of course, in this chase format, certainly going to have to try and get win number 4 next week. Vincenzo, before we let you go, we'll give you the floor to thank any sponsors. If there's anybody you want to shout out here over the NESRN airwaves, the floor is yours.
Big time. First of all, my guy, Taylor, huge congratulations. That was an awesome race. He's put together 11 of them in a row. I've spent so much time behind, aside, and in front of that 90 car as we dice each other, and he's always raced me clean, always carried a good attitude with him into these races, and I was wondering when the first one was going to come. It felt a little overdue, so I'm really happy it came tonight. Congratulations, my guy. And thank you to everyone else in the race for also driving clean. Again, I put a lot of people in a lot of bad spots. Tyler, Crystal, Keon, a lot of people are owed thanks for their driving tonight. And yeah, thank you to the folks at Team EFR for their support, everyone who might be watching at home, and to you and for Tyler for giving us a good show. Thank you guys, as always.
Certainly was a good show here tonight. A little bit not what you would have liked personally in terms of the championship, but still fantastic 5th place run out of you tonight. You'll be looking to go try and win your way to a championship next week across the pond over in Paris. Congratulations on a 5th place run. We'll see you next week over in Europe, Vincenzo.
Yeah, appreciate it, Trey. Thanks again.
That was Vincenzo Focusato, driver of the Best Water Technology, number 37 Millennium Autosport Mazda, finishing 5th on the grid here this evening. And now getting into our tertiary finishing driver of the number 7 Valvoline. I want to say that is a Subaru. Yeah, the Valvoline Subaru. I'm not entirely sure what the model is. Tyler, you can correct me. But one whale of a drive for you here tonight, all the way up to 3rd. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, Trey, for hosting for broadcasting tonight. Rather, I should say. Yes, Subaru Impreza WRX STI, mouthful. Definitely wanted to bring out the old goods with the 2003 cars that were running for this series. So, yeah, had a lot of fun tonight. I always look forward to actually all 3 of the final 3 races. Under Armour, very nostalgic for me. My first win in an open setup series was at Under Armour back in 2017 at Fast. I was riding Dodge Darts back then, so those were also nostalgic for me. But yeah, I was whispering throughout the race to various people that I have, saying, hug that yellow line, hug that yellow line. If you hug that line, you've got somebody behind you. It's pretty much a guaranteed win. So you probably saw me getting greedy and clingy to that yellow line throughout the race, to my detriment many times. So, but it was fun. I think right there at the 2 to go, we went double file, and both lines were making hay. So um, I hope that was a good show, because I know sometimes Under Armour races tend to be just a single file. How close can you get to the yellow line fest? We actually explored the whole racetrack tonight, so that was fun. Vincenzo had a couple places where I could have made some bad choices, put him in a bad spot. So we kept that all going, and not too many stupid cautions tonight. I think we put on a pretty good show for YouTube tonight, hopefully so. And yeah, it was good to be up in some fast company up front. It's not been a good couple weeks for me in this series, so it was a good night to rebound, and looking forward to Paris, another one of my personal nostalgic tracks. That was actually my first online win. That was in a truck series, also at Fast. Paris is fun. It's very reminiscent of the 1997 layout of Atlanta, just with more banking and a little bit of Parisian scenery. And I think I covered it earlier with the people off broadcast that Taylor currently has a 1-point lead over Trek heading into Paris, and he leads by 14 over Vincenzo. So Taylor's path to a championship, thanks to his good runs in the last 2 races. He just basically has to finish better than Trek, or have a better night than Trek. Keep in mind bonus points are a thing, and stay relatively close to Vincenzo. Trek obviously just the opposite, has to beat Taylor in every way. I mean, keep in mind these guys can finish 13th and 14th, and still have if Trek finishes 13th and Taylor finishes 14th, well, Trek's the champion, unless Vincenzo has a standout night. He's 14 back from Taylor, so you get 5 points for running the fastest lap. So if Vincenzo, for instance, starts at the back of the pack next week and gets a really good draft lap and gets up into the mix, and then leads at halfway, he's got a magical 10 bonus points. So he's suddenly only 4 points out. Leading a lap gets you 2 points. Leading the most laps gets you 2 points. Obviously, leading the final lap gets you 97 points total, plus all of your bonus points. So Vincenzo's, he's not out of it. Don't count him out. He's not necessarily in a must-win, but winning would go a long way in his luck for next week.
It definitely would, but going back to real quick before we'll let you have the floor for sponsorships and everything, we got to go back to the incredible couple of saves that you had here tonight, particularly that one on lap 34 where you were wrecking loose going into turn number 3 and somehow were able to save that Valvoline Subaru. They say old Subarus are very, very loose, and you've had a couple of really good saves over these last couple of months here for some of these fuel races, but what's the really secret to trying to save a car that is that wrecking loose and just trying to break it out? Because you've been a kind of the Jimmy Spencer or the Kyle Busch in terms of just Mr. Excitement saving some wrecking loose race cars, dude.
I think last time I was on a broadcast with you and Caleb, for one of these top 3 deals, I told you that I was going to get a tramp stamp with "Nice save, dude," because of how many times I'm told throughout a race.
It was that Talladega broadcast. Think of it.
Any given race, I'm told "Nice save, nice save, nice save" like 3 or 4 times, and it's a combination of me just driving over my head, honestly, going in too hard, putting myself in sketchy situations, putting other people in sketchy situations. I always feel bad about it right afterwards, but obviously that's not changing my racecraft in the moment. So still got some work to do there, but more to the point of what you were asking, how do you save a car that's doing that? I was reading a forum post from way back in the day. One of those deals where somebody who had been running Papyrus games since 1994, and they've learned everything about how the games work. They told you how to save a car. In real life, if your car does that, you would steer into the spin, right? You would turn your wheel to the right to straighten it back out. Well, in this game, and honestly, I've tried it in real life, and it does work. It does work in real life too. You turn the other way. So if your rear end is skipping out to the right, and you're turning your wheel to the left, turn your wheel more to the left. And that causes your front tires to lose all the traction that they've got, and it lets your rear tires kind of take over control, and you kind of drive back into the straight line that you were trying to hold to begin with. So just lose all the traction in your front tires, and it kind of straightens itself out. It's a finesse. It takes a little bit of trying and error to get used to how the car acts when you do that. But it's just second nature for me now. I'm able to drive a lot more loose setups and the open setup stuff now, thanks to learning that little trick.
Yeah, and you were able to definitely put on a little bit of a show there, especially at the end, thundering your way all the way up from about 7th on the grid to 3rd, and able to get a nice 3rd place run here. But before we'll let you go, we'll give you the floor to shout out any sponsorships you've got. If there's anybody you want to shout out here on the NESRN airwaves, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, got to shout out Valvoline for jumping on the hood of the Subaru WRX tonight. But as far as what keeps me going in this series, it's all the great people that show up. Anywhere from 7 to 27 cars show up, and it's always a good night. Any kind of drama that pops up, we always kind of handle it in the moment. Don't let it linger and carry into the next week and the next week and the next week. You know, we do a pretty good job of squashing all the beefs, and just a great group of people to race with. I think Vincenzo says it every time he's on the broadcast, and I resound every single syllable of it. He's just Vincenzo's one of the good dudes. Taylor, I am so glad Taylor's back in the mix. I love seeing him around. Just all the people that show up week in and week out. We have a pretty good open line of communication for if things are not going perfectly. Nothing's ever perfect, of course, but there's always room for improvement. Nobody's afraid to speak up and give their 2 cents. We're a very open for the people kind of league. I'm nothing without the people that race here. So Fuel is the people's league. So I'm glad that people have so much fun racing here. They want to come back every week and tuning in on YouTube, of course, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and again, the link for the Fuel Racing League Discord down in the description box below of this video. I saw a couple of people in the chat interested in potentially joining the league. So, again, like we said, it's a very, very open league. Open to all sorts of talent here for the Fuel Racing League, and we feel blessed to have it here on our NASRN calendar. And we'll be having the last race of the season as well. Hopefully some sportsman and GNS stuff up in the upcoming future. But Tyler, congratulations on a 3rd place run here tonight, and hey, we'll see you next week in Paris.
Thank you, Trey. Y'all have a good night.
That was Tyler Stallhood, driver of the number 7 Valvoline Subaru. We'll go into our 2nd place finisher of the night, driver of the number 60 Suburban Cowgirl Steakhouse Machine. Mr. Trek Tyler, you got a copy of us in the broadcast booth?
Yeah. Hey, Trey.
So it's glad to see back-to-back podium finishes for you here over these last couple of weeks with a great 3rd place run last week at the Fuel Hyper Speedway and now a 2nd place run here tonight. And this championship battle is going to come right down to the wire. But before we get into that, we got to talk about your chaotic race here this evening, going from the front to the back to the front several different times. We've seen all along for these super speedway races all season long how strategy can vary, especially with how the pack is moving. But going after that final caution, what was going through your mind trying to get to the front end of the field here on this last 8-lap stint?
Well, without how my restarts have been with that, for a second I thought I was going to lose the draft for a little while, but then thanks to Kenny, and whatnot, but falling behind and whatnot, and I was able to help catch up. And by the time the A5, then Keon and whatnot, going around, that also might have helped him. It's a hell of a run I gave to Taylor.
Yeah, you absolutely shoved the crap out of that 90 car down on the inside. Going into that last 2-lap sprint, where you were right behind, you got a huge run on the 90 car, and you were able to give a big shove. Once that 84 car tried to block the outside lane, what was going through your head on that final little half a lap? We were trying to get around Taylor Stallworthy, try to get the win yourself, or were you just trying to push him to his first win?
Well, I tried going for it on the high side, but nobody went with me.
Yeah,
And again, granted, there wasn't really a lot on the high side, but still. It was still great to see Taylor win his first race.
Absolutely. Like what everybody's been saying, it's been a long time coming, but going into the season finale next week, it is essentially a match race between you and Taylor. You guys only separated by 1 point going into the season finale at Paris. It's you guys are going into there just by the closest of margins. What are you looking for this Suburban Cowgirl Steakhouse Machine in 1 week over across the pond?
I've said it once and I'll say it again. I never thought I'd get this far.
Well, you're playing with house money. Nothing wrong with that. We'll see what you can do over in Paris before we'll let you go. We'll let you have the floor to shout out anybody you want, thank any sponsors you want. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I wonder what the conversion rate. I wonder what the conversion is for $10 steaks. Is over in France.
I don't know. That's what we got Google right here. Let's see what do they use? Pounds over there?
Either that or euros, I want to say, but
About 835 euro. But anyway, a whale of a job for you and wheeling this Suburban Cowgirl Steakhouse machine around here to get a nice second place run to set yourself up for a fantastic run going into next week's race for the season finale at Paris. Congratulations on a runner-up finish, and we'll see you across the pond next week, Trek.
hey, see you too. And good luck, Tyler, and you too, Vincenzo.
That was Trek Togger, driver of the number 60 Suburban Cowgirl Steakhouse, Monte Carlo. I want to say this is Monte Carlo. Cromwell, excuse me. A nice second place run here this evening. And finally, the man of the hour himself getting his first career win in not only the Superspeedway series, but also on the Fuel Racing League himself. Driver of the number 90 Texaco Havoline Dodge Charger, Mr. Taylor Stallworthy. Got a copy of us in the broadcast booth?
Certainly do.
Well, you absolutely put on a show for the first, pretty much wire to wire in this race, but going into that first 25 lap stint, or 30 lap stint, you absolutely dominated running that lower line, but then you go into the middle part of the race where it seemed like it was trying to, like, falling a little bit apart. You got caught up in a little bit of a bumper grab midway through the race. You spun around. You know, what was going through your head going after that spin, trying to get back, and you see Vincenzo Focusato was taking the race lead back?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it was a great start to the race. Was able to, everything was hooked up. Like, it's really felt the same way all year long. I always feel that the Havoline or Juicy Fruit 90 has been in a position where it can compete, where it can win, and it's always been good enough to run at the top of the field. And when I played it conservative, decided to go for a pit stop, it sent me a little bit further back, which is a move I guess I would like to take back, but at the same time, I ended up in victory lane, so maybe not. But when I bumper grabbed off of Ike as I was trying to make something work with him, immediately the thought flashed through my mind, well, season's over, GG's. But I kept it off the wall, and everyone else somehow kept it avoiding me as well, so I escaped with no damage on the incident. And then disaster almost struck again. I was following Trek into a corner, slid up a little bit, tried to go down low, was giving him some room, bounced off the apron, and did a 90-degree turn until I saved it again and almost lost the draft. But yeah, it's a lot of emotions, but definitely a lot of joy once I was able to cross the line.
And you absolutely had a lot of joy, but going into that final lap, as you were right tucked behind that 84 of Crystal Bennett, and going on to the back straightaway, Bennett was trying to throw the block on the high side, and you had wide open daylight for you. It kind of felt like a little bit of a Chariots of Fire a moment there going down the back straightaway. And once you crossed that checkered flag, how did it feel to just finally, after so much racing here, especially here in the Super Speedway series, to finally get that first win here in Fuel?
It feels good, and it definitely feels weird to get it after a race like this, because there have been races where I think I've had better performances that have been closer to deserving the win. This one just had all the dominoes fall into the right place, and to be honest, when I was entering 2 to go and Vincenzo and his group made the move to the top side, I was ready just to push Crystal to the win. My goal was to keep the championship alive to Paris, and I mean, Vincenzo, fastest driver all season long. If Vincenzo was able to close it out, I knew that any chance that Trek and I would have had would go up in smoke. So I was ready just to do everything to make sure that we kept it within reach where a miracle could happen, and the miracle happened a little bit early. Hopefully not too early as we look ahead to Paris, but it just worked out well with Crystal's move and opened down low, and kind of the opposite of last week. It was Trek pushing me to the line when it was the previous race, me pushing Trek in 3rd and 4th, and then trying to make the pass in the last lap when it was clear that we weren't catching the top group at the line. But yeah, it felt really good. It was definitely a surprise, but one that I'm glad about for sure.
Yeah, going into next week's race, you know, you and Trek, and you go back into the beginning stages of this season where we thought Ryzen Baker was going to be a championship favorite. Then you had Dunlop Prod, of course, Apollo Hyde. They're going to be championship favorites, and same thing with Vincenzo. And that's why you run the races. You go into this final week. You, Trek Togger, and Vincenzo Focusato are going to be fighting for a championship. I know it's you and Trek have been playing a little bit with house money overall so this throughout the season, but you and Trek only separated by 1 point, and Vincenzo's in a must-win situation, which had a Super Speedway again, it's very tough for him. But you're looking ahead to Paris next week. Like we said, we're hearing comparisons of that track being to the 1997 layout of the Atlanta Motor Speedway, which that's a mini super speedway in its own. What's the mindset going into next week, especially with a teammate with Keon Daly?
Win, because that's the only way you can confirm things. We saw it entering the round of 3 with Dunlop. He was, I think, 30 points clear of the gap. Might have been like 30 points clear of second place, but carries just one rough race. Trek Tauger has a miracle win and jumps him. I think I probably beat him out by because I was third entering the group of 3. I think I was like 1 or 2 points ahead of Dunlop into the final round. So, it feels good to have a 15-point cushion to Vincenzo. It feels good to be leading into the final race, but at the end of the day, it's almost like it's the round of 1 from the NASCAR chase. Thankfully, they changed it to the full-time chase instead of the one race shootout. But in a way, it is, because it can change on a dime.
It definitely can, and hey, we got a chase format, and glad to have it naturally come down to the final race here, a race for all the marbles over across the pond in France. Before we'll let you go, we'll give you the floor to shout out any sponsors you want if you want to thank anybody here on the NESRN airwaves. For the first time in your career, the floor is yours, my man.
Yeah, firstly, just want to thank the fellow competitors and to any viewers who are interested about joining Fuel. Please feel free to join us. We're a very welcoming community. I mean, just you see it every single week. A lot of fun people just to race with. Everyone's really nice about it. And, we'll have skill issues. We'll have incidents here and there, but we really mean well. And there's so many people I feel comfortable going side to side with. And as the season's heated up, I've had to get a little more aggressive, but there are plenty of drivers out there that I feel like I can push the barrier a little bit, and they'll either push right back in a fun way to make it exciting, or they're not going to have a skill issue and kill me in the process. So it's a fun group to race with, and big shout out to Vincenzo and Trek, the championship rivals. I'm looking forward to Paris. We'll be rocking the Juicy Fruit scheme featuring El Condor Pasa out at Uma Musume for that final race. It's kind of fitting, given that the real-life El Condor Pasa final race happened at La Prida to Arc de Triomphe, but instead of second place, we're looking to take it to victory lane.
Well, certainly going to be a lot riding on the line for all 3 of you next week, and we are in for one whale of a broadcast here. But Taylor, congratulations on getting your first career win. It's been a long time coming in that Javelin number 90. Go celebrate with your crew in victory lane, guy.
Appreciate it.
Channel switched.
That was Taylor Stolworthy, driver of the Javelin number 90 Dodge Charger, getting the win here tonight at the Under Armour Speedway. One final look at the top-down drivers at the final standings here of all 15 guys, I should say, as Taylor Stolworthy gets the job done here at the Under Armour Speedway, I should say. Trek Tauger right behind him, 73 one-thousandths of a second behind Taylor Stolworthy for second. Tyler Stallhood round out your podium. Crystal Bennett, Vincenzo Focasato rounded out your top 5. Dunlop, Connor Edwards, Ike Durbin, Gustavo Carrillo, and Luis Garces your top 10. Kenny Campos, Jason Serio, Keon Daly, Apollo Hyde, and Emmy Schizzato rounding out all 15 cars. But thank you all so much for tuning into tonight's coverage of the Fuel Super Speedway Series. And congratulations once again to Taylor Stolworthy for getting his first career win here in this level of competition. We got one more race on the docket here in this incredible season of Super Speedway Series competition. Next week at the Autodrome de Paris, it's the season finale for the Fuel Super Speedway Series, with Taylor Stolworthy separated with Trek Tauger by only 1 point. Here, coming into next week's race, that's going to be an 8:50 Eastern Time airtime on Wednesday, February 4th, here exclusively on the North American Sim Racing Network. And like we alluded to, plenty of more action here on the Fuel Super Speedway Series all throughout 2026. Going to have Grand National Series and Sportsman Series action as well, along with the end of the Fuel Super Speedway Series season next week at Autodrome de Paris. But that's going to do it for us here on the NESRN. On behalf of Tyler Stallhood and everybody at the Fuel Racing League that makes this possible, for Caleb Rose and everybody out the North American Sim Racing Network. My name is Trey Wright, saying so long from Lakeland, Florida. So tonight's broadcast has concluded here for the Fuel Racing League Superspeedway Series penultimate race has wrapped up. We'll see you next week over in Paris for the season finale, a three-way dogfight for the championship, here exclusively on your home for the Fuel Racing League, the North American Sim Racing Network. Have a great night.